Hi, you've reached Call Your Publicist, your go-to source for PR moves, media moments, and brand strategies that keep businesses and people in the headlines for the right reasons. I'm one of your hosts, Jenna Guarneri, CEO and founder of JMG Public Relations.
And I'm your co-host, Alexandra Anastasio. Let's start talking.
Sarah, thank you so much for joining us today. We're really excited to have you here. For those just tuning in, we have Sarah Fraggis, who's the CEO of the Filterless Era.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be on.
Of course, and I love your background. So I'm super excited about this because your story stems from when you started the business. Prior to that, you were working somewhere else. And I read somewhere that you took your last paycheck from that job and used it to start the manufacturing of your products. But to get to that point, what was your inspiration for starting the business? What was your aha moment to get to that?
Yeah, so starting the business, honestly, it really came from wanting to serve a woman who was in the same place as me. So a little backstory is I was previously married. I was a stay-at-home mom, and it was around COVID time. So money was tight. I was working a job it was an office, but because of COVID, we were working at home and I just wasn't fulfilled. And, during that time of COVID, I wanted to get facials. I wanted to do stuff to make me feel beautiful. But A, I didn't have money for it. And B, you couldn't go out and do those things. So I started to become obsessed with Filterless Era, like creating a Filterless Era, using gua shas and facial tools. And I knew that once I started getting those results from at home, that I wanted to serve women, teach them how to do it too, because it was just something kind of came from pain. It came from pain that I had of not being able to do those things. And then when I learned I could, I wanted to just kind of make it a passion project and help others.
So that's interesting that you said that during that time, with COVID, because there was so much that we couldn't do, right? So I love that you tapped into something that you needed for yourself to help others. And that's around the time actually that I found you as well on social and kind of started to connect with your brand because of that. Because the same reason we couldn't go out, we couldn't do anything for ourselves. So we kind of had to turn it inward. So did you ever imagine that Filterless Era would be where it is today?
You know what? It's so funny. Yes and no. So throughout my life, when I've done things, when you just have a gut feeling if something's going to work or not. When I first started Filterless Era or like was going to and create my company, I had this crazy confidence that it was going to work. And honestly, a lot of people around me at the time, I even kind of dive into this into my book that's coming out, but they were kind of, mimicking me, and it was kind of like, okay, Sarah, like, sure, this is going to happen, but I just knew it was going to work. Now, did I think it was going to be the success that it's becoming today? No, because success looked a lot different to me back then than it does now. Now I see the vision of how I'm going to get there. But for me, success at that time was just to be able to make it my full-time job and be able to buy groceries for me and my kids. I knew it was going to work. I just didn't know it was going to be the blessing that it's become.
I love that. And being an entrepreneur is a journey in itself, right? Even for myself, going through waves where you started and what you knew as a business owner or starting out to be a business owner and what you know now. So were there any kind of challenges you faced at the beginning of trying to figure out this new business for yourself?
Yeah. You know what? It's funny because challenges now and then, they're completely different. So back then I had no idea what I was doing. So I was just taking shots. I was just shooting my gun before I aimed it. I was just looking for opportunities of what I could do, but I had so much want and so much force behind it that like nothing was going to stop me. I'd say now, it's completely different because now it's like having the energy. Like I don't think I have the energy to do what I did back then from this point on. Like I look back at my entrepreneurship and I'm like, whoa, like my website design was all me. I'm not even tech savvy, but I was on there learning how to create a website because, I had to do everything alone. So I think back then I had a lot more willpower and grit. And now on this side of things, it's more, I'm learning things, but I have a team. So it's getting easier, I guess.
100%. And I agree with you on that. Energy is such a big thing. We talk about that a lot because I know I always say, not that I complain, but I talk about my energy level and I don't have as much as I did several years ago because really, if you think about it, your mind, you're just utilizing your mind in different ways now. It takes so much out of you by the end of the day. You still have to give up to energy to your kids and your family too. So it's a balancing game at some point too.
No, absolutely. And being a single mom, that's a whole nother thing as well. So it's doing that, creating this business. And then, for me as an entrepreneur, I'm somebody who like if I get bored of the same old, same old. So I'm always looking to change it, which is why, I take more on my plate. And then after I do it, I'm like, oh man, but it keeps it exciting. So I have another company that I just launched yesterday. Viva La Vida. So that actually helps with your energy because it supplements. But yeah, I'm always looking to kind of fill a service there. So honestly, my low energy level was why I created Viva La Vida, because I'm like, I need something that can give me that boost to keep going.
I love that. And congratulations on that. It looks fantastic. The branding looks amazing.
It's beautiful.
It is. It is. And I love that have the entrepreneurial mindset where you're always creating.
Yeah, and you know what? It's really fun at this point because I have so many like followers at this point. And so I hear what they're saying and what they want, and I see what's trending in the market. And so before, when I was creating products for Filterless Era, I kind of did that. I kind of looked and saw what people were missing and really looked within myself, because at that point I was, missing being able to get facials and feeling beautiful in my own skin. And so now it's funny because I did the same thing with Viva La Vida. I just had a little more experience into making it, kind of take off a little bit quicker.
And something interesting when you said like you tapped into obviously what you needed and that's how you started to create this new brand. I read in an interview you did with Shout Out Arizona where you said, and this is with your previous sales job, you had those jobs, during those jobs weren't fulfilled in what you were doing, right? So would you say now that those jobs, they kind of in a sense, they set you up for your future success because now you are tapping into yourself and creating products that serve you as well as other women?
Yeah, I like to look at all my previous jobs as almost my college because I actually never went to college. It was always hard for me to sit through school. I tried to go to college, but I was always sidetracked into either, my social life or whatever was kind of grabbing me at that moment. And for a while, I was a server. I learned how to, having to show up someplace on time and how to like, work with guests. Then, I did eBay, and so I learned how to liquidate items. That kind of just started where I needed extra money and I started selling items out of my house. And then I realized, oh, I can go to garage sales, and I started getting storage units. So I've always been very entrepreneurial minded. I just never really had the skill set or really anyone that would take a chance on me. And so I really just started taking a chance on myself. And that's kind of how I built this.
I love that. And don't you feel like too in schools, like they don't prep you to understand what an entrepreneur is or how to get to that and all the things you need for that? And I also read somewhere, is it true that you turn to books and different business books to read and to learn more about building it, and you built out strategies from that, even so much so a TikTok strategy that which seemed to work really well for you?
Yeah, honestly, it is crazy because it's like nothing that I learned in school really set me up for this at all. And I almost felt like the outcast. I always think with entrepreneurs, a lot of times, like not all, obviously, but there's a chunk of us who can't do school and, do not do well at office jobs. And so when you're in a society where those office jobs are there, like I remember looking at my friends when I was like 22 years old and being like, wow, like something's completely wrong with me because I can't even go to this 9 to 5. They're praising me. They're saying I'm doing a good job, but like I just felt soulless. And so I think when you're able to just kind of like work for yourself and really feel like I'm bringing something that like I'm proud of what I'm bringing to the table. And so I guess those jobs were good, but it's like what I'm doing now is so much more fulfilling. It's like I don't wake up every day hating what I do. I'm excited to get the message out because I believe in it 100%.
I love that. And I'm sure it's a
Yeah.
huge inspiration for your kids too to see mom doing all this.
Yeah, it's funny. They definitely love the TikTok side of it. I overhear them with their friends. They're like, "Oh, my mom has this many followers." I'm like, "Not exciting."
The level of credibility you give yourself amongst like teens or young ones just by having TikTok.
Oh, for sure. And I'm just like, I mean, I'm not popping up on their pages, maybe their moms, but I'm like, it's funny because, they're proud of it, but also I think I embarrass them a little bit too.
You never know. Their moms might be following the gua sha
This is
routines. You
true.
never know. They should be.
I know. And it's kind of like embarrassing for me too, because it's like I do really well behind a screen, but it's, when you're on social media so much and then you go somewhere in public and people recognize you from it, it's like, oh my gosh, I get so embarrassed. So
So I always ask people, are you an introvert or an extrovert? Because that also affects your comfortability with social media.
so I'm a little bit of both. So I'm definitely an extrovert in the beginning until I feel comfortable around people. And then once I'm comfortable with you and you're like, we've talked and like I can feel us out, then I'm good. But yeah, I always get a little bit like second guessing. Like it's just my nature. I get a little nervous.
But I have to say, obviously, I follow Filterless Era and I follow I will say, I've got a lot of your routines saved because I have the gua shas and I do follow them. But I would say on camera, like when you're doing them, it's coming across to me extremely natural. Like you don't give off that, you know what I mean? Some people are uncomfortable on social and you can tell they're uncomfortable, but you don't give that off at all.
Years of experience. Prior to doing, the gua sha videos, I did network marketing, and it was with Thrive, which is a vitamin company. So it's funny that I'm getting back into vitamins again. But I loved that product. And I remember they were like, well, you have to go live. Like, that's how you're going to make money. I remember the beginning of those days, it'd be like the time would tick down, and it was like you're speaking, it reminded me of back in high school when I had to speak in front of people. Like my face would feel purple. I'd hear my heartbeat, but I would just do it because I knew I needed to get the sale. So now it's easy. Now this is easy because I've done it so much, but definitely an acquired skill.
I can imagine. And we hear that a lot from entrepreneurs that we work with, that there's an intimidation factor with putting yourself out there to the public on social media. And you would imagine social media has been around for quite a while, but people are still having that issue of doing that. But it really is so important to building a brand. And I would imagine that doing so has created so much success for you. So do you have any tips for other entrepreneurs who perhaps need to get out of their shell a little bit?
Yeah, just get out there and show up. And if you're showing up like super authentic and you're excited about it, I always say, so if you're like, I am obsessed with gua sha, like I live and breathe it. That's completely me. And like the new company that I just created, those are all products that I have passion projects. I don't do anything without passion. And I think a lot of times, I used to do these hour lives on TikTok. And in my beginning days, you will get comments from trolls. You will get comments that will throw you off. Like, they're so crafty on there, and they copy and paste it to different ones. But at the time I had no idea. I thought it was a direct hit at me. Um, and you have to learn to just let it go, because there's more nice people than there is mean people. We're just always going to read those mean comments, and it's going to hurt. But once you gain a following, like I do have some of the best followers now. I'm like, even if I get a mean comment before I even chime in, I have somebody like fighting on my behalf, because I just think, yeah, I'm walking in integrity, and I'm a nice person. I'm not doing anything, I'm not controversial. So I think if you just keep it clean and it comes from a true place of heart, just keep showing up, because people are going to see that.
I agree with that 100%. And it kind of bothers me because social media is such a powerful tool for entrepreneurs. So when you see somebody commenting, that's, I guess we'll call them the trolls, right? Or the haters. Like, I don't understand why people, you're just here trying to promote your business, connect with other individuals, help others. So it bothers me when people do that. But how has it been influential in scaling your business? Like from the positive side, we're going to put those trolls to the side.
Oh yeah, like when a video pops off, and like, you know, I think the beginning days, especially like when a video starts going viral, even to this day, when a video goes viral, it is like a feeling, like a thrill that I'm chasing, like something that I'm like, yes, all right, people are relating with this. And so when I get those little successes, then I try to think, okay, so who did I hit in this video? Like, who am I helping? Who's commenting, saying things that are positive? What did I do for them? And then that will kind of be my strategy of what I want to do. So I'm always working towards serving others. You know what I mean? It's always about serving them. If you look at my page, I'm not trying to be some America's Next Top Model. Like, I'm not about myself. It truly is about, really serving the broken woman that used to be me, because I remember that pain so much. And so it's always like, how can I help? I just want to help people not ever feel that way.
And I think that's where the connection comes, because it's the authenticity, right? We want to be able to connect with somebody, especially when we're, like you said, if we're going through something internally, right? We might not feel like somebody understands us. So we turn to others in social media and we kind of connect. And so being authentic and showing up as your authentic self, I think right there is where the success is going to come. Wouldn't you say? Like that's,
100%.
people are going to see that and they're going to see themselves in you. Maybe it's a small portion, but it helps you, and it helps, you as the business owner, but it also helps the person on the other side. And I think that's fantastic, and that's what social media should be used for. At least that's what I think.
Yeah.
And I think that's too a lot of things we tell our clients, like put that negativity out. A lot of times, like if I'm seeing negative comments on a client's account, and then I just really look at where they're coming from. And I just tell them, like, don't even give any mind to this, because it's like the bully in the schoolyard. It's just now we have another avenue for it, right?
Yeah.
Now it's online. So just keep doing what you're doing, because it's fantastic.
Yeah. And I think it's important too, because you were generated out of COVID or quarantine during that time. And then really the messaging for brands really shifted after that, right? It was all about authenticity and being unique. So it's interesting how you leveraged that during this time, and it's continuing to do so. And it's a true a true testament to your success with that, because people really enjoy you as a person, as a founder, and the face of the brand. And there's so much behind the PR aspect of the thought leadership, the founder story, right? And you really lean into that, and people gravitate to you for it.
Definitely. And I think too, something else I love about your brand and about you is because, like Jenna just said, you started out of COVID, but it was a need from within yourself. So it's not like when you have to connect with people that you just feel like there is no connection, like, or you can't make that, I don't know, relatability, I think is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's not relatable then.
Yeah, I mean, I totally feel like it's all divine timing. And for me, it was always a spiritual thing. Like when I really created this company, and I never looked at this business of like, ooh, I want to make a lot of money. I want to, I didn't start a business to make a lot of money. I started the business because I truly wanted to help people and I enjoyed, sharing the knowledge that I had. And at the time, I thought maybe I'd help a few friends and family. And it's funny because it's kind of the exact opposite. You strangers come to you faster than friends and family. I feel like, like I had a ton of people who were relating with me, and thank goodness they did, because if it was only my inner circle, that's another advice for entrepreneurs coming up. If it's only your inner circle who's seeing you, like that's a problem. You need to put yourself out there, because people who know you sometimes can't grow with you. And it's not that they're trying to be mean. It's just more of like, they're not able to see you as a skincare CEO, rather than somebody is learning from you and they are, they accept that. So you definitely do. Back to what you were saying, you have to put yourself online because you need to be able to organically attract the people you're going to help.
And that's such a valid point to what you're saying about the audience you're speaking to are not your friends and family. And at some point when entrepreneurs start out, that might be the majority of their audience. So that's, I think, what some of that uncomfortability comes from, because you're like, oh, I sound weird or strange, or, I'm bragging to my friends and family. Realistically, you have to put that aside, because the audience that's going to be your customer are not those people. So whatever messaging you're putting out, it's not for your friends and family. It's for all the potential customers that you're generating and that target audience. So it's really important to identify your target audience as part of your social media strategy.
Exactly.
And I was going to say too, you made a point before talking about when you first started and having, say, some friends or family or those close to you, chime in, right? They're not saying anything negative, but they're kind of like, hey, what are you doing? Or, if you're showing up a lot on social media and that's not something you usually do. So I think being able to tune that noise out and just focus on who are the people you want to connect with. Like you said, Jenna, as well, find your audience. Who are the people who are going to really grab onto what you're putting out there, and just focus on them. And your friends and family aren't always, I mean, yes, they're supportive, but again, they're not always going to be your audience, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. They don't have the same need. And that was the hard thing for me to like learn, because when you're a young entrepreneur and you're starting out, you think that's going to be your entire support system. You're like, oh, they're going to love this. They didn't, what are the odds that they've gone through what you've gone through, but there's billions of people in this world. So you'll find your audience, but it's a hard truth you have to learn.
100%. And I love to see how your brand is growing, right? You have the new supplement brand you were talking about, Viva La Vida, and you're also in the process of releasing a book soon. So I'd love to hear more about that. Tell us about what the book is about.
Yeah, so since the beginning of Filterless Era, like once Filterless Era started taking out, I kept kind of staying in prayer, and I'm like, I need to share my message. But I'm like, I don't know how sharing my message of just kind of the hardships that led me, like the book is going to be called The Last Paycheck, and it's coming out in April, or late April, May, maybe June. We're still going through editing, so I'll make a huge announcement on my Instagram. But I kept saying, like, how do I get my message out? Because there's a lot in that book that kind of unpacks, not being supported and having to do everything self-made and kind of getting ridiculed and things like that, and how I kind of overcame it. And so it's the whole story behind it. But yeah, I just feel like, with that coming out, it was the time for the story to be launched. So I got an offer to create a book. It's coming out. I'm super excited. So this is going to be a whole nother sector of, my career, I feel like.
That's amazing. And as a fellow author myself, I have the book, which is like strategically right above us. You need PR, but it's a journey and an obstacle to write a book. It's a lot of work. So you're doing your full-time job, you're doing the extra brand you just launched, and then you're writing a book on top of that. Requires so much editing, so much energy to put down to focus to there, right? We talked about energy as well. So how do you balance a normal day for yourself, having all of these different things going on?
You couldn't have asked that question at a better time. Honestly, if somebody would have told me it would have taken all the energy that it is, I probably would have said, no, I'm not writing a book. But you know what? I'm gonna be so happy. It's like, even when I do photo shoots or I do things for my brand, there's some of the things that like kind of stress me out the most. Um, It's completely stressful. I try not to look at it, I always think of the analogy my dad always said to me. He's like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And so I'm one of those people that I take the opportunities when they're coming to me. And so yeah, I bit off a lot right now, and it's definitely been stressful, but I'm looking at it as I'm really excited. So it's like every day I try to kind of, it depends, because it's chaos. So some days I wake up and then Filterless Era has to be the main focus. Other days we have a deadline for the book. So I wake up and then I kind of just stick to like a similar routine, but then I kind of fill in the gaps when I need to.
I love that phrase. I feel like entrepreneurs, the life of an entrepreneur is just chaos. Like that's the best way to put it because there's just so many moving parts and so many ideas to sit and like focus on all of the things and make sure they all get done. It takes a lot.
I was gonna say it's probably like no 2 days are the same, right? Like today could be one thing, and then like you just said, tomorrow could be a totally different focus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think it's good. Honestly, for a person like me, that's what keeps me alive. It's kind of like a purpose thing. I don't do well. I don't know if it's from before entrepreneurship. I think before entrepreneurship, I was a lot more calm. Now when I have nothing to do, I almost feel uneasy.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it's odd. You don't have to stay calm anymore.
Well, that's maybe where some new ideas start to brew, right?
Yeah.
Like you get, whether it's
Yeah.
for business or just a new business that you
Yeah.
want to create. So I have a question for you because I asked Jenna this when she was writing her book. So I'd love to ask you, when you were writing and you sat down and you were putting pen to paper and you were really going through opening up, was there any of those moments of like self-discovery where you're like, wow, like I got through that? Or I can't believe I got through that. And here I am on the other side, because writing is very cathartic. A lot of people will write in journals. So you kind of just bared your soul in a book.
Yeah. It was deep. I think it's better. I mean, being out of a divorce, it was probably the therapy I needed. I go through like even my childhood, and I started under like some of these places like just felt so dark that I think that I kind of just look back and I didn't ever give myself the credit to think like that I was going through something. Cause I think I was just, when you're in a dark place, sometimes I feel like you don't even realize, especially when you're in like a certain situation, like with somebody else, or like even in my marriage when it wasn't happy. It's like I look back and I'm like, wow, it really was that bad. Cause I'm one of those people that is always just, I never really cry for help. And I'm just like, oh, all is fine. I would put on a big facade. And so when I was looking back at it, I was just like, ouch, and I kind of felt a lot of that self discovery. And then, certain people that maybe I thought weren't supporting me, I started seeing, oh, they were supporting me. That was me being more selfish in my mind. So I learned so much about myself. It was very therapeutic and it was hard, but it was also, now that I'm on this end of it, the happy ending part, it's really a beautiful story that I hope help other people.
Yeah, I can't wait to read it. I feel like every bit of information I come across from you, it's just always so fascinating. I'm learning something. It's relatable as well. And I feel like I know you. And I really love that about your brand.
And that's where that connection comes, right?
Mhm.
Like I was saying, it's the authenticity that you can feel.
Yeah.
And even if you've never met somebody in person or you've never talked to them, but you kind of feel like you know them, right?
Mhm.
Because they're sharing a little piece of themselves with you.
Thank you for saying that. That means a lot to me because it's hard for me to see myself from the outside in. So that's what I hope to be. So that means a lot that you guys said that.
Absolutely.
Of course.
I was going to jump because I know we were talking about the book, but I also want to jump to your new brand, your new line that just launched. So obviously you talked about needing energy, feeling that when you created something, it was what others needed. Obviously you're listening to what others need, but also what you need from yourself, right? We all want to work from within. So tell us a little bit about Vida La Vida and the aha moment when you said to yourself, it's time to start the next journey of Filterless Era.
Yes. So Filterless Era is all about, skincare, natural, really working on the inside of your skin with your gua sha, but, we're working on the outside appearance, but it's health and beauty combined. And so then I started thinking of like all the supplements that I was taking and what I could really use. And so I looked at my bin and I'm like, okay, I have colostrum, I have collagen. And the thing about it is that I'd even have doctors write me a script for like, all these vitamins that I need to be taking on my blood work. And I would do really good for like a month. And then it just gets chaotic. And I'm like, I don't know if that made me feel weird, if that made me not feel weird, what's going on. And I'm off to the next health trend that pops up in my face. And so I'm like, I need to simplify this because, first of all, I have a lot of things going on, but I want to simplify it and I want it to be clean and I want it to be something that really serves women in this decade of who we are. And so the first product that I came up with was Viva La Day. And Viva La Day is a multivitamin that is premium grade of all the nutrients that you need in a day. So if nothing else, take this. This is going to help fill your nutritional gaps. It's a very good, clean vitamin, and it has a pinch of clean energy. So there's a little bit of green tea in there, less than a cup of coffee, but at least if you take it, you're going to feel a little bit of oh, I feel good. I got a little energy. So that was the first. And then, I was taking colostrum, collagen, and I was like, you know what? I should combine these and let's put some whey protein in there, because if I have this in the morning as my shake, that's going to help me stay on par, because if I don't eat in the morning, I'll end up going through a drive-through at lunch and like not caring about what I'm eating because I'm so hungry. And so I'm like, okay, I need something that I can do in the morning. And then the collagen drink and the colostrum drink, I'm like, it's just a lot of drinking. And so I combined it together and we got it down to 0 carbs, 21 grams of protein, and it tastes phenomenal. So yeah, in the morning, I make that after I take the next product, which is, so that one's Viva Love Vitality. So it's your whey protein, your colostrum, which, are you guys familiar with colostrum?
I personally am not. Have you? Are you?
I was just going to say, I have not. And I feel like I'm down that supplement rabbit hole, which is so overwhelming. So that's why I love that you're explaining these and making it simplified.
Colostrum is incredible. So it's basically like, if you have a child, it's the first like milk you would give your child. It's the colostrum because it has all the nutrients they need. And so this is from cows, but it's like super mineral packed. It's going to boost your immunity. It helps with hair growth. It helps with gut health. I mean, it's just crazy, the studies that are on it. And so you have that. And it makes you beautiful. Everything in this line, I'm like, it's where health and beauty are combined. So it's like health and beauty. And that's with both brands. And that's why they're sister companies. And so then it has the collagen, which you guys know about collagen. That's going to help your skin's elasticity, keep us from, drooping. We stop making it in our 30s. Well, it severely declines. And then the whey protein I just threw in there because I'm like, I need to feel full, because if I'm not full, then I'm going to be eating 100 things. So I just like that, because usually actually they say to have protein before you go to the gym. I used to do it the opposite for the longest time, but they said do it before because you get a better workout. So I'll do that in the morning, some point, get a workout in. So yeah, that one is like kind of my star. I love it. That's my favorite out of all of them right now. And then we have one more product, which is NAD. So NAD, like all the celebrities have been using it for like 10 years, but they were doing it through IV infusion and they were getting shots of it. And basically it slows down cellular aging. It's going to increase your energy. The more NAD you have, the less you're aging. Okay, so it's kind of like this miracle supplement. Yeah.
At once. Can I take
I
the
want
whole
that.
bottle at once?
It's crazy. So the infusions are like 500 to 2000, depending on who you're getting it from. And they started, doing research once it kind of got out that that was it and people were interested in NAD. You can take it in capsule form and it's showing really promising results that it's boosting people's NAD. So we put NAD with glutathione into a capsule. So that's going to be anti-aging, less wrinkles, increased energy. Typically, I take the NAD in the morning right next to my bed because it's going to wake you up a little bit. Like I said, very clean energy. This is all natural. It's not anything that's going to give you jitters, not like a cup of coffee. Then I'll go downstairs, follow it with my shake. And then at lunchtime, I'll take my multivitamin. So yeah, that's it then. That's the whole thing. But it's, you're getting all those anti-aging properties and all the vitamins you need.
Because that's where I get overwhelmed when I have to do it myself
no.
and put it all together. But I love that it just sounds so easy. One quick thing, and then you're set. And it sounds like, I mean, you're set for like long term.
Yeah.
This is like you're helping you age and you're helping you long term benefits of things. It sounds fantastic.
100%. And I love that it's 3 things, right? I mean, when you were talking about all those supplements, I literally on my kitchen table, there's a box and in it is just like, we have this, we have that. When I got to take this, I have notes like take this in the morning. It's too overwhelming. It gives me anxiety. It's like I have enough to have anxiety about that I shouldn't. One last question for you. What message of empowerment do you want to leave with our listeners, especially those who are on their own entrepreneurial journey? Because we covered so much, right, about the whole process. So what do you want to share with people?
I think the best thing that you can do is silence the outside noise and just remember why you want to do this. And if you find yourself finding that it's in alignment with helping other people and it's like a greater purpose, then you're on the right track. And I think you just have to make sure that your priorities are straight. It can't always be something like, I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs, they want to start a business. They wait for everything to be perfect. That's another thing. This is a huge one. You can't wait for everything to be perfect. Sometimes it is good to shoot your gun before you aim it in entrepreneurship, because if you wait for things to be perfect, it's just never going to happen. You just got to take those chances, just keep putting out those chances, but you got to stay confident and you got to remember what you're doing it for and don't lose sight of that.
Love that. Sarah Fraggis, this has been so fun. I really enjoyed the conversation. I appreciate you being here with us. For our listeners, how can they find you from here?
Yeah, so you guys can find me on Instagram at Filterless Era. I'm on TikTok as well. Or you can search in Sarah Fraggis on Instagram. You'll find me there. I think I'm on Facebook under Filterless Era too, if you're there. But any of those work, and I would love to connect with any of you guys.
Thank you, Sarah. This has been
Thank
fun.
you. This has been so fun.
Thanks.
So informative.
I'm going to be getting my products. That's for sure.
I can't wait, actually.
I know. We're going to be placing orders.